Donald Trump refused to participate in another debate against Kamala Harris. Former President Donald Trump wrote, "There will not be a third debate." This includes the one against President Joe Biden in June and the one last Tuesday with Vice President Kamala Harris. The Democratic candidate insisted on the need to hold another face-to-face on TV. Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump announced Thursday that he is rejecting another debate with his Democratic rival Kamala Harris, in a post on his Truth Social platform. Although he has been undecided in his decision. Harris, meanwhile, insisted on her proposal for a second debate with her Republican rival for the presidency of the United States, Donald Trump. During a rally in Charlotte, North Carolina, Harris said, "2 nights ago Donald Trump and I had our first debate and I think we owe it to our voters to have another one, because the stakes in this election cannot be higher than this." Both candidates are returning to the States on Thursday, where Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will head straight to the most contested and undecided states that they hope to tip in their favor this year, trying to widen their narrow paths to victory in a very tight presidential campaign ahead of the November 5 elections. The vice president will hold back-to-back meetings in North Carolina while Trump will travel to Arizona, 2 days after Harris put the Republican former president on the defensive in the two candidates' first face-to-face meeting of this campaign. It remains unclear whether Harris's forceful performance, watched by 67 million viewers in the United States, will turn the tide in a race that is still close with less than 2 months to go. Harris's team said the 59-year-old candidate is entering a more aggressive phase of her race for the White House, looking to capitalize on her decisive debate victory and build on the momentum. Harris also said she would engage more with the media. She has given just one television interview since President Joe Biden's decision in July to drop out of the race. Harris's meetings in Charlotte and Greensboro, North Carolina, will reinforce her message that the country must turn the page on Trump, she added. The ABC News debate in Philadelphia was a welcome boost for Harris, as the initial burst of enthusiasm that helped her erase Trump's lead in the polls appeared to be leveling off. Trump, meanwhile, will take the stage in Tucson, Arizona, amid media reports of unrest in his camp over the way Harris managed to challenge him on issues including abortion and foreign policy. Republican Donald Trump, 78, will focus on the struggling economy and rising housing costs, his campaign said, signaling an attempt to get him to stick to mainstream electoral concerns rather than his penchant for conspiracy theories and name-calling. In both cases, the choice of swing states for their first post-debate meetings reflects the need to win over key groups of voters. Harris's campaign said Thursday's trip will be their 9th to the state this year, and recent polls show a tight race. More than 24 combined campaign offices have opened so far, supporting Harris and the party's other candidates, and popular Democratic Governor Roy Cooper is one of their top surrogates. Harris is seeking to energize African American and young voters in North Carolina to back her bid to become America's first female commander-in-chief, in a state where she has erased a 6-point lead over Trump in the past month. Meanwhile, Trump is targeting Hispanic voters in Arizona, where Biden won by a slim margin of about 10,000 votes in the 2020 election and where he now hopes to win over those voters. The return to these states at the heart of the election comes a day after the brief truce that Trump and Harris granted each other to attend the commemoration of another anniversary of the September 11 attacks in New York. On Thursday, Harris was still reaping benefits from the debate. Another Republican, Alberto Gonzales, who served as Attorney General under President George W. Bush, offered her his endorsement. Gonzales wrote that Trump is perhaps the gravest threat to the rule of law in a generation, citing his encouragement of the January 6, 2021, Capitol riot amid an unprecedented attempt to challenge Biden's election victory. Both candidates will continue to visit the most important places in the coming days in view of the presidential election. Harris will return to pivotal Pennsylvania on Friday for campaign events in Johnstown and Wilkes-Barre, before attending an awards dinner on Saturday with her husband Doug Emhoff. On Friday, Trump will give a speech in Las Vegas about the cost of living in Nevada, another key state for the presidential election. Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, will travel to Michigan and Wisconsin from Thursday to Saturday as part of a campaign tour of the most contested and undecided states in this election. Subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell and give it a like if you like this type of content.